Give me a break. That scary one-eyed pigeon was on the fire escape again. Let's go.
Before we peel back the layers of this story, let me ask you a question. Do you think it's possible to grow up as a child star and still maintain a normal sense of identity? Or does fame inevitably steal a piece of your childhood?
And we totally rocked it.
Girls!
And we're totally getting thrown out of here.
Most people look at Zendaya and see a polished, effortless icon. But the foundation of that stardom was built on a childhood that was anything but ordinary. Long before she was a household name, she was a shy, anxious student who was so afraid of social interaction that she actually had to repeat kindergarten.
The dress, her moment, and then we changed into something that I can sit in because it was the Screen Actors Guild Awards. I felt very, very lucky to be wearing it.
That sounds like a long way from the confident woman who commands a red carpet, doesn't it? But that fear was real, and it was the starting point of her story. When she stepped onto the Disney set for Shake It Up at just 13 years old, her life changed overnight.
And we're gonna get all boom boom pretty on. Shakira, ah, yeah, Shakira, ah, yeah. Shakira, my hips, my hips.
She wasn't just a student anymore. She became a professional, an actor, and quite frankly, a breadwinner for her family. Imagine being 13 and having the weight of your family's financial stability on your shoulders. While other teenagers were dealing with homework and social cliques, Zendaya was dealing with the crushing pressure of high-stakes production schedules and global scrutiny.
I am Dr. Thomas Chen. Do you have an appointment?
She has spoken candidly about the dark cloud of sadness that sometimes followed her during those years. There was an immense internal pressure to be a perfect being, to never slip up, never say the wrong thing, and never show any weakness.
Wow, it's gonna be pretty hard to forget that. Why does it say Mazel Tov?
Because I got to the florist right before closing and this is all they had left.
She has often expressed a sense of regret or longing, realizing now as an adult that she essentially bypassed her teenage years. She has famously mentioned that she feels like she is going through a delayed teenage rebellion right now, because she never had the space to just be a kid, make mistakes, and try things out without the world watching. Have you ever had to grow up faster than your peers because of responsibilities at home or work? Tell me your story in the comments. I'd love to hear how you handled that transition. This perfect prison wasn't just about the work. It was about the psychological burden of being a role model at an age when most people are still trying to figure out who they are. She wasn't just an actress. She was a project, a brand, and a source of income.
Really, I actually had fun. You know, up until you picked me up and threw me over your shoulder like a sack of potatoes. Okay, that wasn't so bad either.
This creates a disconnect that many child stars never recover from. For Zendaya, the struggle wasn't just about succeeding. It was about surviving the pressure to maintain a standard of perfection that was humanly impossible to sustain. She had to constantly suppress her own needs to ensure the machine kept running smoothly. It was a heavy price to pay, and it set the stage for a career where control would become her only way of fighting back. If you've ever felt like your anxiety was a weakness holding you back, you might want to reconsider.
I'm Casey, no E. No, wait, there is an E, but it's after an I, like I before E, except after C, except in this case, it is after a C. So much for rules.
What if that same hyper-awareness could be the secret weapon that launches you to the top? For many, anxiety is something to hide. For Zendaya, it became a diagnostic tool she used to navigate the treacherous waters of Hollywood. She didn't just deal with her shyness, she treated it like a skill that needed training. As a child, her parents enrolled her in everything. Dance, theater, clubs, not just to keep her busy, but as a form of exposure therapy.
Hi, Julie.
My name's not Julie, it's Julie. J-U-L-I. No E. I was just...
She learned early on that the only way to get through the fear was to walk directly into the center of it. This habit of intentional exposure followed her into adulthood. Even as a global superstar, she has admitted to forcing herself into uncomfortable social situations, asking strangers questions, and stepping out of her comfort zone. just to manage the feeling that she wasn't cut out for the intensity of fame. By intellectualizing her anxiety, she put herself in the driver's seat. Instead of letting the fear of the spotlight paralyze her, she treated it like a performance she had to prepare for.
It's like making me have a headache like right away. Like if I smell it, I'm like, ooh, I can't smell that for too long. So I like more like mint. And
when you're in a situation that makes you feel anxious, do you tend to avoid it, or do you force yourself to lean in? Is exposure therapy something you've ever tried in your own life? This hypervigilance also defined her career strategy. While most young stars are told to say yes to everything to stay relevant, Zendaya pivoted to a strategy of extreme control. She learned early on, partly through the power she wielded as an executive producer on KC Undercover, that the only way to protect her mental health was to own the narrative. She stopped being just the face of the project and started being an architect of it.
I feel like I'm biased because I've been able to grow up with the person that I love and like get to know them like through being literally a teenager to now. So it's like
she began curating her filmography with the precision of a chess master. She doesn't take roles to pay the bills, she takes them to make statements. This quality over quantity approach isn't just an artistic choice, it's a mental health strategy. By being selective, she avoids the burnout that plagues so many of her peers. She limits her public exposure, uses social media as a curated gallery rather than a daily diary, and maintains a level of mystique that keeps the industry and the audience at arm's length. She's effectively built a fortress around her life, using her awareness of her own limits as the blueprint. She isn't just surviving Hollywood, she's outmaneuvering it by knowing exactly when to step into the light and exactly when to disappear.
And I know there's so many parents that come up to me and just hearing them say thank you for being that for my daughter or for my son and being that inspiration for them, that's everything to me. So.
That's a big deal.
We've seen how she survived the perfect childhood and weaponized her anxiety to gain control. But here is the million-dollar question. In an age where celebrities are expected to be available 24/7, how does Zendaya maintain such a massive... Zendaya's current dominance in Hollywood isn't an accident. It is the result of a meticulously crafted superstar playbook that rejects the traditional industry game. For decades, the rule for young stars was simple. Work as much as possible, be seen everywhere, and never let the public forget you exist. Zendaya flipped that script completely. She adopted a quality over quantity approach that treats her career more like a curated gallery exhibition than a busy work schedule.
Like a girl. I play like a girl. You bet I do, and this girl is going to school you, and the only thing I will be throwing up this time is twos.
Instead of chasing every blockbuster or signing onto every franchise that waves a check in her face, she is hyper-selective. By choosing to work with visionary, auteur directors, the kind who demand the most from their actors, she is building a foundation of cinematic credibility that will outlast any fleeting trend. This strategy isn't just about art, it's a brilliant business move. In a world of infinite noise and constant content, she has made herself a rare commodity. By staying silent when the algorithm demands noise, she ensures that when she finally does speak or drop a new project, the world stops to listen.
That's because I've been kind of busy. Saving the world. For the past 3 years, I have been leading a double life.
If you were a famous actor, would you prioritize making the most money possible by staying in the spotlight, or would you follow Zendaya's lead and prioritize your brand and mental health? Let me know your pick. Her approach to her image is just as disciplined. She has mastered the art of controlled mystique. While she has millions of followers, she doesn't use social media as a running diary of her daily life, she uses it as a gallery. She shares what is necessary to promote her work, celebrates her creative collaborations, and then retreats, maintaining boundaries that are almost impossible to keep in the modern era. This allows her to own her narrative entirely. She isn't just a face on a screen, she is the CEO, the creative director, and the star of her own brand.
Oh, and I know it took me forever, but I finally signed your yearbook. Better late than never.
Check out what I wrote.
By treating her career as an exhibition rather than a content factory, Zendaya has redefined what it means to be an A-list icon. She has proven that you don't have to be everywhere to be everything. Her legacy is being built on a foundation of intent, proving that if you have the courage to say no to the noise, you can earn the power to shape the future of the industry on your own terms. She didn't just survive the dark reality of being a child star. She used every lesson from it to become the architect of her own destiny.
I just left Brady, and he is not the mask, but I know who is.
Okay, well, who is it?
It is John's son.
If you enjoyed this deep dive into the secrets behind Hollywood's biggest icons, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. We are uncovering the untold stories behind the stars every single week. Which celebrity should we investigate next? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the